All right, so this is the key to the quiz, and in both problems you had to write the equation of a line given certain conditions. So let's look at number one. So number one, you wanted to write the equation of the line that has the slope of -3/4 and contains the point 12, -3. You also wanted to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and look at number one. There are two approaches you could have taken here. Some students took this approach. I'll just call this approach one. And in approach one, this is where you used point slope form. So y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. You were given the slope, so that's going to go here, and you are given the point 12, -3, and we're going to substitute that for x1, y1. So I'm just go ahead and put 12, -3 here. So that's going to be x1, y1. So if you used approach number one, then this would be your work. This would be the work that you would have shown. So you would say y minus y1, which is -3, equals a slope, which is -3/4, times x minus x1, which is 12. All right, so let's go ahead and simplify this expression here. So we all know that y subtract a -3 means the same thing as y plus the opposite of a -3, which is a +3. So y subtract -3 is equivalent to y plus 3. Equal, and then let's just go ahead and use the distributive property here. So when I do that, I'm going to get -3/4 x, and then a negative times a negative is a positive. Now let's think about what we have here. So we have that -3/4 times a -12. All right, and so we can rewrite -12 as -12 divided by 1. And I could do several things here. I could multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators and then reduce. Or I can reduce first because I noticed that 4 and -12, they have the factor of 4 in common. So 4 divides into 4 one time. And then -12 divided by 4 is a -3. And so then this becomes -3 times -3 is a +9. And then 1 times 1 is 1. So this becomes 9. So this is going to be 9 here. And then remember, you want the answer, your equation, in slope-intercept form. So all I need to do is get y by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3 from both sides. And notice I'm aligning my like terms. And then when I combine like terms, 3 and a -3 is 0. Y plus 0 is y, equal -3/4 x, and then 9 and a -3 is a +6. And so that is the equation of that line. All right, now the other approach some students took was, and let's just call this approach 2, and approach 2 was where they used slope-intercept form. So they went ahead and used y equals mx plus b. All right, now you still want to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So at some point, when you write your answer, it's got to look like this. So you need to know the slope and the y-intercept. You know the slope. The slope is -3/4. So at some point, you know you're going to have y equals -3/4 x and then some number. You got to figure out what that number is that goes here. And that is your y-intercept. And nowhere in the problem are you told what that y-intercept is. This is not the y-intercept. Remember, the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. And when you look at any point that's on the y-axis, your x-coordinate is 0. And that is not 0 here. That's 12. In fact, 12, -3 would lie in the fourth quadrant. All right, so you got to find b. And so if you did approach 2, this is the work you would have had to show. So I'm going to go ahead and just put 12, -3 here. So using approach 2, you're going to substitute 12 for x right here, and then you're going to substitute -3 for y, and then you're going to substitute -3/4 for m. And then solving for b, whatever b is, then you would put that here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So this is the work you would have shown if you had used approach 2. So y is -3 equals the slope, which is -3/4, times x, which is 12, plus b. So let's go ahead and, now at some point you have to solve for b, but let's go ahead and multiply negative 3/4 and 12. So negative 3/4 times 12. So it's kind of like this one right here, right? So you'd say 12 divided by 1. You can reduce first, or you can multiply first and then reduce. Does not matter. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now, negative 3 times 3 is a negative 9. All right, so negative 9 is going to go here. So I have negative 3 equals negative 9 plus b. And then to get b by itself, notice that you're adding a negative 9, so you're going to add a positive 9. So you're going to say plus 9, plus 9. And then combining like terms, negative 3 plus 9 is 6, equal, this is 0, and that's b. And so you found your y-intercept just like we did here. So you're going to say y equals negative 3/4 x plus 6. All right. So notice the work you had to do in each of these approaches. So I would be looking for this work if you want to, in order to get all points. All right. Now number 2, the difference number 2 is that you're given 2 points on the line, and you want to find the equation of that line, given 2 points in that line, and you were told to write the answer in slope-intercept form. So you can take both approaches again, does not matter, but notice in either approach, you had to know the slope. In this case, you did not. So first thing you had to do was find the slope. So you had to find the slope first. So remember, the slope formula is y2 minus y1, so change in y divided by change in x, rise divided by run. Now, if you put y2 first, then you got to put x sub 2 first in the denominator, so x2 minus x1. And then from here, we're going to just go ahead and substitute these values into this formula to find the slope of that line. All right, so let's go ahead and call this x1, y1, and this will be x2, y2. So we're going to get y2, which is 7. So I get 7, subtract y1, which is a negative 14, divided by x2. You must start with x2, which is 4, subtract the negative 3. Now 7 subtract negative 14 means 7 plus 14. 4 subtract negative 3 means 4 plus 3. So 7 plus 14 is 21. 4 plus 3 is 7. Reduce, you get 3. So your slope is 3. And then from there, you could do your different approaches. So approach 1. And then approach 1, we'll go ahead and use that point slope form. So y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Now, remember, when using the approach, we just needed 1 point. You were given 1 point here, and in this problem, you're given 2 points. It does not matter which one you use. Okay, it does not matter which of those points you use. Now, most students would probably use this one because both of those coordinates are positive. And so let's use this point with approach 1, and then approach 2 will use this one. All right, so we're going to use 4, 7 with approach 1. So this would be your x1, this would be your y1. But again, it did not matter which one you used. Regardless of which of these points you used in either approach, you would get the same equation. All right, so y minus y1, which is 7, equals the slope, which is 3, times x minus x1, which is 4. And then using distributive property, we get y minus 7 equals 3x. 3 times negative 4 is a negative 12. Remember, you want to write this in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides. And when I add 7 to both sides, combine like terms, I get y equals 3x. A negative 12 plus 7 is a negative 5. So there's your equation in slope-intercept form. Over here, using approach number 2, in approach 2, we're going to go ahead and use this point here. So let me go ahead and do negative 3, negative 14. Now, most of you probably used this one. All right, so that's where we're going to use y equals mx plus b. And remember, your answer is going to be in slope-intercept form. So far we know the slope. We found the slope earlier. So far it's going to look like this. Y equals 3x and then some number that goes here, which is the y-intercept. So we're going to find the y-intercept by substituting these values back into the other variables. So this will be x, y. So I get y, which is negative 14, equals the slope, which I found to be 3, times x, which is a negative 3, plus b. So we get negative 14 equals 3 times negative 3 is a negative 9 plus b. To get b by itself, we're going to add 9 to both sides. Negative 14 plus 9 is a negative 5 equals, this is 0, and you're left with b. So your y-intercept is negative 5, so you're just going to say y equals 3x minus 5. So notice, regardless of which approach you use, you get the same equation. All right, so that was it. So that was the key to quiz 1.